What's up, world YouTube? Today is the day for the 100-day challenge, 100-deal challenge, 100 roofs in 30 days. This is out for all roofers, door-to-door guys, anybody that knows that there is an absolute gold rush in the roofing industry. It's for roofing business owners. It's for salespeople. It's for people interested in getting into the roofing industry. And today is sort of my gift to the roofing industry. And as everybody starts to pile in here, one thing's for sure. I'm pumped up about one thing. That's the give back, man. I know the more people I help, the more I'm able to get on track to hit the blue collar American dream. For me, that's building a $1 billion roofing company. It gives me goosebumps. The idea is pretty simple. Let me get unmuted here. Some technical difficulties. We got a whole host of folks coming in here through Zoom. What's up, guys? Restart. We're muted and we're getting fired up. Where y'all coming in from? Type it into the chat. I don't know where you're from. I don't know if you're in roofing, if you're an owner, if you're a roofing salesperson. We're about to drop some bombs, and it's going to be heavy hitters only. We're on YouTube, we're on Zoom, and we're going to be delivering the 100 deal roofing challenge. Look, I made a commitment because I was worried that we may not get a storm. And, you know, making money without a storm for me, being an insurance door-to-door roofer, wasn't always possible. As a matter of fact, you know, the thing about it is, for most of you, if you're a roofing business owner, if you're a roofing sales guy, how you finish the year, what you do to finish 2025 is everything for how you do 2026. Forget about new year, new you. I want you to understand the most unfair advantage in business is momentum. We're going to build massive momentum together. Today, I'm going to be kind of unlocking about, I think it was September. It was towards the end of Hurricane Milton. I made a commitment to do 100 deals in 30 days. I was inspired by a guy named Anthony Florentine. He made a commitment to sell 100 solar deals in 30 days and documented his journey. And one might ask, if I'm the CEO of a company that the best year we did 60 million in revenue. This year we did a little bit less, but we're making more money. The reality is like, why would a CEO go into the field and commit to sell 100 roofs in 30 days? For one, I gave away all the roofs. For two, I realized that I needed to become a master at insurance to retail, and I was stuck in my old ways. For three, I needed to boost my team, and I had so many leads, so many deals. And I don't know if you're a roofing business owner, but a lot of guys that I talk to have talked about this problem in our industry where you get contingency agreements, you get people that are willing to go through the process and the roof doesn't get approved. They don't convert. I was just talking to one of the biggest private equity owned roofing companies, and they sign up contingencies like crazy. Huge volumes of contingency agreements, and yet they have less than 50% of their contingencies turn into hard contracts, and that's just not right. If you're watching this right now, the reason why I made this commitment was because I didn't want to be an empty suit. I wanted to be the guy that knew how to do retail, that was responsible for making my team successful in growth even without a storm. And so a lot of y'all, you have to understand, I talk to so many roofing companies that are at $1 million to $5 million. And you want a sales manager that is going to change your business. You want sales leaders that are going to lead a team, recruit a team, and take you to the promised land. But you cannot recruit a sales leader until you become the guy first. You cannot manifest a person to come into your company and save it until you're that guy yourself. You can't teach it if you can't do it. And I see so many of these guys out here coaching in sales and roofing, and they're not actually running companies. They're not actually doing it on the streets. And so it's pretty important that we get into this. And I don't know where you're coming in from, but I'm going to kind of unpack all the lessons that I've learned, and we're going to get this started right now. First of all, I want to talk about the rules of the game. What is the 100 deal challenge? Let's go through this real quick. The rules are simple. Every appointment set or deal closed counts. We're looking for either contingency agreements or hard number loans. This is for owners, salespeople, sales managers in roofing. And your goal, if you're a sales leader or if you're an owner, is to give away all your deals. You either set the appointment or you close the deal. And you can set the appointment in door to door. You could set the appointment over the phone. You can close it in person at the kitchen table, or you can close it over the phone. Sales reps are to offer every single person a retail close. It doesn't matter if you're in an insurance market. It doesn't matter if you're working claims. The rules to this game is you're not going to be able to close big retail until you start asking for the money. And so not every deal needs to fund right away. The goal is consistency, activity, and momentum. Next is the documentation. Okay, this is an important part of the role, because whenever I watched Anthony Florentine go out and put 100 deals up in 30 days, he made a point to show that it was field generalship in the field, being able to be a leader that does, like when I did the 100 deals in 30 days, I was doing all my CEO meetings. I had basically lots of hard conversations about stuff that didn't have to do with sales. And I'm doing that out of my truck. The idea is pretty simple. You can handle all the things that you need in your truck. And if you use social media, daily updates, sharing your wins, what I want y'all to do is make a series where you say, this is day one of me committing to sell 100 roofs and documenting my journey along the way. When you make a public declaration and you say, I'm on a mission to sell 100 roofs in 30 days, you get a little pit in your stomach. It makes you a little nervous, because you know what? I see so many of y'all, you're afraid to speak your dreams out, and because you're afraid of failing in front of people. You know what? That's crazy, man. We live in a world where in America, you can fail over and over and over and over again and still win. But I just want y'all to know, guys, that this journey is not just about, selling the roofs. It's about, whenever I did 100 deals in 30 days, I recruited 3 sales managers. Those people were able to bring in 15 different sales recruits, and we were able to have massive results in other areas, other locations. And so it's so important to document the wins, because in documenting the wins, you're going to be training your own team. In documenting the wins, you're going to be recruiting a new group of people. And in documenting everything you do, there's nowhere to hide. It sort of provides the extra push you need to get to the next step. Next is the discipline. One of the ways that I got through this push is, dude, working out every day for your energy and focus is everything. This is a sport, and in sales, you can't let your highs get too high or your lows get too low. And the way that you can control the things that you can control is you gotta access power. And for me, it comes from a higher power, a higher purpose. I believe in a God that is greater than me. And the reality is like, that's this foundation. But when we put our feet on the ground in the morning as men, if we don't sweat in the gym, then we don't feel the same confidence. And I think it's really important in sales to have energy, to have confidence. And, my goal is that you fill your brain with at least 10 pages of nonfiction books daily. The first time I committed to the 75 hard challenge, I went through some impactful books that changed my life. One was called The Obstacle is the Way. And this is a book where we didn't get a storm this year, and I'm grateful for it because it forced me to go retail. And the obstacle is the way means that whatever is hard in your business, whatever is hard in your life is actually a gift. And the truth is like to get the opportunity to grow, to sell roofs all at the same time, it takes discipline, it takes documentation, and it takes doing the work. So if you're going to commit to this 100 deal challenge, you're going to be committing to working out every day, sweating every day, reading 10 pages of a nonfiction book, and then posting your wins on social media at least 3 to 5 times a week, documenting your journey and using storytelling to attract new recruits and build your brand. So guys, if you're in the chat, so many of y'all are coming in from other places of the country. Maybe you're worried about it being the end of the year and you not having enough time to do this. Comment where you're coming in from so that I can see everybody. And I want to know, are you an owner? Are you a salesperson? Or are you new to roofing and just trying to learn a little bit more? Comment in the chat so that we can help you out. There's one big idea from this training, and that is my entire life, I was dependent on an adjuster saying yes. I was dependent on the adjuster approving the roof. I was dependent on the adjuster paying the claim at a right rate. I was dependent on depreciation being released by the insurance adjuster. And the one big idea from this 100 deal challenge is we're making a commitment to break free from this curse, to break free from we have to get the roof approved before we build the job, to break free from waiting 90 days for our money at the end because we're living death by depreciation. Now, on my Zoom call, get your screens on. I want to see anybody on this Zoom call that has struggled with insurance companies holding my money. Anybody here? There we go. I got a lot of different people here from all over. What's up, everybody? Glad to see y'all. Anybody struggled? Your business growth hasn't really grown as fast as it could because you can't collect your money, or maybe you supplemented a job. How many times have we supplemented a job, worked really hard for a customer? And the truth is like this happens even on big jobs. I just got a $330,000 supplement on a job that's going to make more than 50% profit at 1.2 million. And the customer is a general contractor. And so he said, Lee, I thought I was going to get the overhead and profit. And I said, hey, buddy, I understand that completely. You're going to get the overhead and profit on the work you completed. You did about $36,000 worth of work. 20% of that's going to be about $7,000. Congrats, bro. You're getting 37,000 of that 333,000. The rest is mine. And so we all know, dude, like if you get a supplement, it's a fat ass supplement. Who's ever got a fucking supplement so big that it causes a problem? Oh my God. Well, dude, that's because you're doing it all wrong. I will never do a supplement for a customer ever again, ever, without a hard number contract and an approved loan. I will never do a repairability test. Can y'all go up on a roof and mess with the shingles and meet with multiple adjusters and do all these different things to get the roof bought, only to find out that the guy's going to use another roofer down the street who's going to cover his deductible? Yeah, it's happened to all of us, But the truth is we find out that if you set the foundation from the beginning, not only do you retain more customers, not only are you able to make a higher margin, but you don't get treated like you're a gimme salesperson. And whenever these homeowners get in this mindset that you're going to get it all paid for by the insurance company, unfortunately, the sad part about it is like, dude, you set up the customer to like just basically be one of these people that never want to pay. And so it's just not right that our whole industry is based off of like insurance and contingency agreements. We're going to go through how to get better at that. But the main thing that we're going to talk about is how to get a hard number contract and a loan approved at 3 different parts of the deal. We're going to talk about how it changed my company, how I've been able to double sales. Because, dude, we turn jobs into job numbers when we don't have approval. We turn jobs into job numbers when our supplements are still pending. And when you can build a roof faster than you can get the insurance company approved, it's a revolution, baby. Insurance to retail is the revolutionary sales model that lets roofers build the roof even if insurance says no. And it lets you sell retail. You know what I hate about retail? Let's be real. Retail's great. Oh, I love retail. But you like competing against somebody who's getting 3 or 4 quotes? Nah, I don't like that at all. I as a matter of fact, I always say when roofers compete, the homeowners win. So typically when a homeowner's getting 3, 4, 5 quotes, does that mean that we're getting top dollar for the roof? Does that mean that we're making 50% margin on the roof? Most of the time, it doesn't mean that. Most of the time, it means that we're having to make some concession. I know that in selling retail, you have to let the customer beat you up a little bit. It's like the MSRP on a car. You have to start high and let the customer think he's really negotiating and winning to get low. And the problem is like, it's hard to go through maybe like a 10-step sales process and duplicate it. And a lot of the guys that knock doors aren't the guys that can really do good at the retail close. So the part about insurance to retail that's so much better is that the way that I'm going to teach you how to sell, you don't have to compete with other roofers and you don't have to go through this whole process of 3 or 4 different bids. And so let's go and unpack this. What is it? It's the roof and sue. It's the insurance to retail. It's the contingency agreement to hard number contract. And this is the future. See, for me in the past here in Florida, we were able to get a claim, sign them up on a contingency agreement. It used to be we could get an assignment of benefits. These were the good old days. Our name went on the check. The customer couldn't screw us. And if the insurance company denied the claim, we turned it over to our attorneys. Well, this still took forever. And as the insurance companies kind of turned it's like a water hose, and there was tons of money flowing out of it. And we would wait through the pipeline. Even if it took a little while, we could consistently get a certain amount of the roofs approved. And we knew a timeline that it take to get the roofs approved. And when you scale a big company, 60 million, and you're waiting on insurance, you're waiting on depreciation, a lot of times, if you have a 90-day pay cycle, or if the jobs take 6 months, 9 months, or a year to come out of legal, it can cause problems. The idea is pretty simple. It's that the cost incurred method, the fact that insurance companies, whenever they're sending out an information to a claim, they say, look, if you've incurred any expenses, then you need to save the receipts and turn them into us. Because the truth is if you've incurred a cost protecting your home from further damages, that we owe you the amount on that receipt. It's called cost incurred. And so in the roof and sue method, we don't wait for insurance approval. We take a denied claim. We have our engineers and attorneys document the damage. We go ahead and give the insurance company a magic letter, and comment magic letter if you want my magic letter. The magic letter is simple. It states, from the homeowner's perspective, please pay the claim as presented. I intend to start the roof within 30 days. And if you don't pay the claim as presented, then I am going to sue your ass. Complicated? Is that a complicated letter? Why don't you ask that Chat GPT? Real quick from Zoom, I want to keep y'all, because y'all registered. I get a lot of questions about this magic letter. Has anyone ever used the magic letter, or do you know what I'm talking about, or have any questions about this? It's literally, the power is getting the customer to write a written response to the insurance company, and having that insurance company know that the customer is willing to sue their ass. And when you include like photos that document all the damage, and no, this is not a letter from a PA, and anybody is welcome to, kind of type questions into the chat. This is a letter from the customer to the insurance company. And it's very simple. It says, please pay the claim as presented. If you do not pay this claim, I will pursue you in the court of law. I will hire my attorney. And since my roof is damaged and it could cause further leaks, I intend to repair this roof within 30 days. This changes everything. Our guys in Connecticut, they're working a lot of times without public adjusters, and they're getting, with this magic letter, a large percentage of the denials overturned without a public adjuster. So if you're watching this right now, you want a copy of the magic letter, everybody that showed up here can get one for free, no problem. But the magic letter is only part of it, because you have to be willing to tell that customer, look, the way we get leverage is we move forward with the work. And of course, you're going to get a question from the customer. How soon from claim filed is the letter sent out? That's a good question. This is a very good question. And if you're from Southern California, y'all have high wind damage. It's very kind of like 60 to 65, 70 mile an hour winds. If I'm in California, I'm focused a lot on 3-tab shingles. But you got a lot of different types of shingles, and you don't know this, Paul, maybe, but California is a matching state. That means that they owe for matching across the board. I think it's a gold mine for insurance to retail. I also know that because of fires, that insurance companies are really, really smart, and they're flying drones over all the old roofs, because California is a matching state and there's a lot of tile roofs. And so I've been in San Francisco, I've been in Los Angeles selling roofs, and I could tell you, dude, it's for the taking for anyone that wants to take over this strategy. It really is. And the truth is that you use this letter. Once the adjuster has come out there, you could wait till coverage is extended, but I probably wouldn't. I would probably send the letter directly the day after the adjuster appointment. And it's pretty simple. We're going to set it all up from the beginning, but this letter sort of sets the tone, and it's one key piece to the sales process that it gives us leverage. And I'm going to unpack the script. But I love California. I can't wait to get into California and do more myself there. As I move through the next stage here, I'm navigating a Zoom call and a YouTube at the same time. So we're on to the next screen, which is the contingency agreement. So I think this is a real important part. How do you tell somebody that, y'all know, let's go over the contingency script real quick, okay? Number one, I'm knocking the door. Hey, Paul, my name's Lee. My drone detected damage on your roof. Yes, I don't know if you've seen the neighbors getting new roofs, but they had legitimate damage from the low pressure, high winds that came through last year. You know, all those winds that spread the fires everywhere. Well, they also damaged roofs. And my drone detected damage on your roof. Now, if you have legitimate damage, you'd want it covered, right? Okay, good. This gives me permission to inspect your roof and speak with your insurance. It says, if I find damage, that I'm going to help you get it approved. It's contingent upon approval. Contingent means no approval, no cost. Sound fair? I love the sound fair. I love the freaking Alex Hormozi close. The contingency agreement's the easiest sell in America. Who loves the contingency agreement and thinks it's the easiest sell in America? I fucking love that shit, guys. I've been doing it till the day I die. I'll do it till the day I die. But the problem is, guys, what happens if the roof doesn't get approved? What happens if the guy was already set up to buy the roof? What happens if the guy was already in the market for a roof? Okay, so here's where we screw up. This is where we screw up as a freaking industry. This is a lesson from Alex Hormozi. I'm going to ask y'all a question. Okay, here's the question. I'm going to sell you a steak. Now, am I going to sell you a steak when you're starving? I'm going to show you a picture of the steak. I'm going to sizzle that sumbitch. I'm going to hold it up. I'm going to cut into it. I'm going to show that medium rare ribeye. I'm going to see them little fat pieces. I'm going to show it to you. Oh, boy, this is a damn good steak. Put the salt on it. Oh, my God. You want this steak? Hell yeah, you want that steak. You want it right now. Now, go ahead and eat that steak. Eat the steak right now. Eat it. Get full off the steak. If I come back and do the same presentation, is it as effective? Fuck no. When do you sell them a steak? Do you sell them a steak before, when you've got them all juicy and riled up, or do you sell them a steak after, when they're already full? Okay? And this is where y'all really mess up. Everybody here is trying to sell a steak after they're already full. Because you know why? You set the tone wrong. You told them that it was contingent upon approval and that you're not going to do the work until you get the roof paid for by the insurance. And you're basically a freebie giveaway roofing sales guy. And so after you've made that promise, no, sir, I promise it's not going to cost you any more than your deductible. No, if the insurance doesn't pay, it's costing you nothing. See, the thing is that this is when the customer with an old roof is the hungriest. This is where they're the freaking most fired up to buy. And we know there's a magic question in my sales presentation. Y'all write this down. It's a gold nugget. You can teach it to all of your sales guys. And it's very, very simple. If you have legitimate damage, you want it covered, right? What person says no to that? An absolute fool. An absolute fool is the only person that says no to that. And sometimes you might hear a no. And those guys probably aren't going to buy. But if you have legitimate damage, you want it covered, right? Is a close that I use over and over again. But I just want y'all to know how this whole thing is about. How do we transition to retail? How do we transition to retail? And this is where we do it right here. So we say, look, once they've signed the agreement, because we're going through basically, I always try to say, focus on the first agreement. Get them moving down the line of the sale. And so once you've got them to say yes, there's something else you should do. It's called reciprocity. You should call the insurance company for them. Everybody should do this. This is, for one, a contingency agreement without a claim number. Is that a deal? Is a contingency number without a claim number a deal? Hell no. Claim's not filed. So if you're filing a claim, it's pretty simple. You get the claim number. When you file a claim for a customer, that customer really feels like, oh my God, this guy's helping me. he's going above and beyond and doing something for me. And this is a beautiful time. It's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful service. And we help them. What do we help them find? The date of the storm. What do we help them find? We help them find this simple process. And so it's right after we get the contingency agreement signed that we deliver a little bit of bad news. The takeaway. I don't know what kind of takeaways y'all do, but the takeaway is more important than just blasting them with information. And here's the takeaway. Once we've got the contingency signed, once we've called the insurance company, y'all ready for the takeaway? Look, I'm going to be real. You know there's a catch. Paul, you know there's a catch. Come on. You know there's a catch. Insurance companies are the most difficult negotiators in the world. They delay, they deny, they defer responsibility. Now, you got legitimate damage. You want it covered, right? Here's the thing. We need leverage. And if I could get 50 to 80% of your roof covered, that'd be good. I mean, if I'm talking to a California homeowner who's not as familiar with the claims process, they got a 25-year-old roof, you tell a man, I could get you 50% off your roof. How many of them are buying? A lot. A lot. Now, if I'm in Texas, I'm in Oklahoma, and everybody's getting a roof paid for by the insurance company and everybody knows how it works, it may be a little bit more difficult. But the takeaway is pretty simple. The insurance companies are going to fight. They're going to fight like hell. And we're going to make sure that you don't lose. You have legitimate damage. We're going to help you cover it. And we have the best team of engineers and attorneys. Now, the catch is, if the insurance company fights us, we got to pay our guys. So if I could get 50 to 80% of your roof covered, that'd be good, right? That's where y'all are fucking up. Y'all go ahead and write that shit down. If I could get 50 to 80% of your roof covered, that'd be good, right? It's very simple. It's not hard. And at that close, you know, I've heard a number of answers. Well, 80% would be a lot better. Well, no, I'm not going to do this unless you can get me a roof for my deductible. Or, hell yeah, 50% would be really good. So now you know a little bit of how hard the customer is going to be to close the deal. All right. Now, I skipped a step and I'm going to go backwards a little bit. You have to build value and prove that insurance companies are dropping people with old roofs. Has anybody seen that in your market where the insurance company is dropping people with old roofs? Is that true? Is it true that insurance companies are flying drones over homes, and if you got an old roof, they're dropping them? Well, I'm thinking about what's going on in Florida. There's an East Coast area where just like 50%, 80% of the people with old roofs are getting dropped by their insurance company. And so you need proof. You need documentation in the sales process that shows, hey, look, there's been 125,000 people dropped in the state of Florida in the last year. And when your roof gets over 15 years old, insurance companies are trying to be proactive because an older roof is easier to get damaged by storms because there's rules like matching. Insurance companies are trying to be smarter than the consumer, and they're trying to remove the liability of an old roof on their books. So they fly a drone over your home. If you have an old roof, they're going to send you a letter, and it's going to look like this. You need to replace your roof to keep insurance. And if you get one of these letters, are you prepared to pay $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 out of pocket for your roof? Now, this is where it's really important. So many of us don't pause enough in roofing sales. You don't let the customer feel the burden of the cost because you're just like, hey, if I can get a roof paid for by the insurance, it's contingent upon approval. No approval, no cost. It's only going to cost your deductible. Sign here. You don't like do any takeaways and you don't have any pauses. But these pauses are where you gain leverage and you gain key information in closing the deal. And if the customer is not aware that people are getting dropped by the insurance, it's your job to educate them. If the customer is aware, it's your job to pull this awareness out of them because that is leverage to close the deal. Now, when we're going to get the hard number contract and the loan approved from a contingency agreement, it's pretty simple. Selling is telling. People want to be told what to do. When I go to a restaurant, do you know what I do? I don't know. What do y'all do? Whenever you got something on the menu and you don't know what you want, what do you do? What do you do? You ask the damn waiter, What's the best thing on the damn menu? That's what I do. And the waiter says, this right here is, man, the most expensive thing on the menu is the best thing on the menu. I swear. And reality is, guys, I'm that guy. So when we go through this cycle, let's break it down. If you have legitimate damage, you want it covered, right? Look, it's contingent upon approval, no cost. Give the insurance company a call. Well, you want the good news or the bad news? Good news is we filed the claim. The bad news is the insurance companies are the toughest negotiators in the world. The catch is they're going to delay, deny, defer responsibility. The bad news is if we don't get this roof approved in the next year or two, they're going to drop you, or your rates are going to double, triple. And unfortunately, we got to win. We got to win. So look, if I have a denial and I have to fight the insurance, I bring in my insurance attorney and engineers. If I could get 50 to 80% of the roof covered, that'd be good, right? So all these agreements that I've gotten, now I just need a copy of your driver's license. Now, Paul, go get a copy of your driver's license. This is just the next step. Do I explain what we're doing? Do I say the word loan? Fuck no. I literally tell them to go get their driver's license. And sometimes they say, what do you need my driver's license for? Because we use a magic letter and a pre-approval, and it strengthens our case. This is how we get leverage, and we take away the power of the purse from the insurance. I just need a copy of your driver's license. This is a key point. This is a key point to pivot to retail. And what happens at this key point is they go get their driver's license before you've really given them anything to go through the loan, the process, and all these things. Once they sign the contingency, we have got a claim number, and they go get their driver's license. What do you think the odds are once they hand you that driver's license that when you ask them their social security number, they're going to give it to you? The odds are really good. Okay. As a matter of fact, almost no one tells us no. And so it's pretty funny. Because, like, if you have legitimate damage, you want it covered, right? It's contingent upon approval, no cost. Catch is insurance companies are the toughest negotiators in the world. They delay, deny, defer responsibility. You're going to get dropped by the insurance company anyways. So if we get 50 to 80% covered, that'd be good, right? All right, great. We need leverage. We need the power of the purse. The way we win is with a magic letter and a pre-approval. Go get your driver's license. That's why I'm the wolf of Roof Street, man. I mean, a lot of people like to talk a lot of shit, but the reality is insurance is not the way to scale to $1 billion. Retail is. And I had to change my ways. But about 10 years ago, I walked into Grant Cardone's office, and he didn't know shit about roofing or insurance claims. Now he's running ads trying to sell roof training. And he's a great guy. He's helped me a lot in business, but he's not a roofer. Doesn't know insurance, didn't know insurance back then. And you can't really master these processes until you do them yourself. And that's why, even though I'm leading $1 billion, like, blue collar American dream, I was willing to go get my hands dirty, Operation Bloody Knuckles, to master this process. And so basically, I want to invite all of y'all to train with us, take this challenge, do this, but it's pretty simple. Once we have got their driver's license, we're walking them through the process. We've said we could get 50 to 80% covered. We want leverage. Speeding up the process is not good enough. What we want to do is we want to make sure we don't lose. And the way we make sure we don't lose is with a magic letter, a pre-approval, and the power of the purse. Let me repeat that. The way we don't lose is with a magic letter, a pre-approval, and the power of the purse. Now, all I need is a copy of your driver's license, your social security number. We've got a partner, Truist Bank. Have you heard of them? We got a partner, Good Leap. What they do at no cost to you is give us 12 months, no payments. And the way we do it is we don't even really go into too much detail at this point. We just say they give us the power of the purse. The pre-approval gives us 12 months, no payments. And during that time, I'm able to work out the insurance claim. You're going to take the money you get from insurance. You're going to pay them. It's going to be very simple. It gives us leverage. When I'm selling, I usually don't have to explain it that much. But the very most important thing is that you can get a insurance deal claim filed, and then you can go to getting a retail loan using a 12-month no payment, no interest loan. And you can change your entire business model because it's pretty simple. When you have a person that really is thinking they're going to get a roof paid for by the insurance, they haven't got a lot of quotes. You have somebody before they're in the buying cycle of getting multiple quotes. So what that means is when I put in the loan, for one, when I put in the loan, y'all need the Roofing Redline because that's my technology that I designed. This allows us to do an instant measure. It's part of the key of how we sell over the phone. It's part of the key of all these different things. And so many of us don't measure the roof and give the customer a quote the first day. But in order to get a hard number contract and a loan, we got to do an instant roof measure. So if I pull this up, show y'all what this looks like here. Here's a roof. Boom. All I'm going to do is click a button. It's called Fast Estimate. Let's see here. Here we go. Bink. Bink. Then I'm going to put the pitch in. Bink. And I'm going to get a measurement at 800 a square. And I'm going to get a price. Bink. 25,000. So I'm going to put the loan amount in for 25,000. I'm going to tell them that, have you heard of Truist Bank? These are our partners. They're going to fund the deal, and they're going to fund the pre-approval, and they're going to give us leverage to get you approved, because when we submit a magic letter with the pre-approval, that improves our ability to get the claim approved. And this is just what we need. This is a part of our process. And I'm looking at my buddy Austin Chastain, Blue Ladder Roof, and I know, brother, that so many times that we sign contingencies and they don't convert. So many times we got the customer at the point of sell, and instead of like the low margins that are involved in St. Louis, bro, when somebody doesn't know what a roof costs and you're going to get them a roof paid for by the insurance, you can get them a 12-month no payment interest loan at $750 a square, and they have no fucking clue what the price is. You know what? What's 50% off a roof that's priced too high? It's a cheap fucking roof. That being said, any questions? Y'all chime in here. Anybody want to ask me any questions about how to close? Questions you might get. What happens, Lee, if the insurance company doesn't approve my roof? What happens? Worst case scenario, if I got to pay for my roof. And this is where you really got to know the cheapest to buy a roof is today. And I wouldn't take this case if I didn't think you had legitimate damage. And I know that we can get you at least 50 to 80% covered. But let's say worst case, you get nothing. The truth is that you're going to have to get a new roof in the next year or two anyways. If your roof's 13 to 15 years old, the insurance company could drop you. And I know that with a new roof, you can save on your insurance. You can avoid this, like in 2 or 3 years, there may be more inflation in your roof that's 20 grand a day, maybe 30 grand. And so why don't we just go ahead and take the chance at getting 50 to 80%, get the cheapest that you can get a roof today. You could upgrade the value of your property, and then you can immediately get savings on your insurance. Now we're going to move to the next step of the deal. As a matter of fact, I'm giving away too much sauce, too much secrets. This right here, y'all enjoying this? Y'all think it's pretty good? All right. Appreciate that. Look, if let's say the insurance company doesn't approve it. Let's say you've got, let's say the customer doesn't go for it. All right. This is not the first time to do it. I changed slides here. We're at the adjuster appointment. Now, Austin, we got a secondary time. What's up, Zoom user? You got a question?
You can
go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, Lee. This is Ross Shaner. I'm in Detroit, Michigan, and I've been trying to get a hold of you guys for probably a few months. I got someone in the company trying to do it, but would love to work with you on this. This is brilliant. I love it, and I'd love to, if you can send me some type of contact in the link or whatever to get a hold of you guys. I'd love to.
Hell yeah, brother. What I'm doing for owners, for salespeople, is I'm giving everybody 90% off. I have a sales mastermind where we do 4 retail, insurance, and commercial Zoom training calls. This is my community and my team. And we do it for basically $5 grand for the year. It's 90% off. And we're going to give you a sample. We're going to give you access. We're going to give you the 100 deal challenge. It's a Black Friday offer. And so I also am including sort of a mastermind meetup, a sample to what we do. It was in September that we had a mansion mastermind, and there is going to be a lot of roofers in Florida here in December 6th. I'm going to be holding sort of a free meetup. So everyone from this call is invited. And if you want to come break bread and shake hands, come on down. But the main thing is like Detroit, St. Louis, Indianapolis, we all love the roofer versus adjuster, right? Where we're going up there talking about the damage, trying to get the insurance company to approve the roof. Well, I don't like that anxiety. I don't like having my future in the hands of an insurance adjuster. And so when the insurance company comes out, this is a time for us. We did what we said we were going to do. We showed up on time. We went through the process of meeting the adjuster. We showed them the damages. And a lot of times we get off the roof and the adjuster says, we're going to turn this into the desk adjuster. We don't really have a resolution. These guys don't even really have control anymore. They're sending up so many ladder assists. So when you show up at the adjuster appointment, this is another great time to flip it to a retail deal. You come off the roof, you say, I got great news. There was damage. Here's the damage. Look at the damage that he marked. Coverage has been extended. And what we need is the magic letter. This is literally what gets us approved faster. I'm going to go ahead and give this to you to sign. It just says, please pay the claim as presented, or we're going to move forward. And this just basically tells us that, you know, with a pre-approval that we're going to get your roof approved at a higher rate. And so at this point, we're just going to go ahead and write you up to include all code upgrades. This, you know, a lot of times in Michigan, they leave off the ice and water. They don't give you 2 rows of ice and water. So what we want to do is we want to prevent the insurance company from paying for piecemeal repairs, or prevent the insurance company for paying for a subpar roof. So we're going to include 2 rows of ice and water shield on our quote. We're going to go ahead and get you pre-approved, and we're going to go ahead and attach that to the magic letter. See these pictures? Coverage has been extended. Great news. And so I just need a copy of your driver's license. Yeah, this is what we need to do, is go ahead and submit this pre-approval, because it increases our odds of getting approval. And so many of y'all have to realize this is where they're still hungry. They still want a roof paid for by the insurance. And do you know what's second best to a roof paid for by the insurance? Does anybody want to guess? A roof 50% off. A roof 50% off is almost as good as a roof paid for by the insurance. And so at the adjuster appointment, this is where you got to go there. And you can't say, we're going to wait for the adjuster. We're going to fight the adjuster for you. We're going to do all this shit. No, we're not. We're not going to fight the adjuster. We're not going to do repairability tests. We're not going to do ITEL reports. We're not doing any of this stuff unless you follow our process, because we control the process. If you want to get paid, you got to play it by our rules, because we're the ones who do this on a daily basis. And we found out over 20 plus years of experience that we get more roofs approved at a higher rate through this process. Now, I need a copy of your driver's license. You see how selling is telling, not going through the process, begging them for the job. That being said, the next step is when the insurance company writes the estimate. Alex, what's up, brother? You got a question?
What's up, man? Lee, been following for a long time. I'm in Florida too. My question is, when are you presenting that hard money loan to the homeowner? Is that right after you do their initial inspection? Is that after?
3 different points: at the contingency agreement, at the adjuster appointment, and when the insurance documents come back. If they tell me no at contingency, then I advance them further down the line, and I basically kind of soften them up for when I show up. And when I show up at the adjuster appointment, I got to leverage, because I did what I said I was going to do. I put my blood, sweat, and tears into it, and I push hard for the loan then. And then when they deny that, so many different times there's supplement. How many times do we supplement 80-90% of the jobs that we do? 80-90% of the jobs get supplements. Yeah. So look, they didn't pay for code upgrades. There's going to be money held back. And so instead of us waiting and going back and forth, we want to go ahead and show you that the code upgrades are costs incurred. And I'm going to go ahead and get you a pre-approval with all code upgrades included, and the insurance company is going to reimburse. As a matter of fact, some of these items are called PWI, paid when incurred, and it's just easier for me to write it up right now. Does that make sense? Does that sound fair? But Lee, what if this is more than my insurance? You told me it wasn't going to cost me any more than my insurance. Well, you see here, your insurance company's covering it. And just like in the beginning, they said save all receipts because they'll reimburse. This is just a receipt for you to get reimbursed. Go ahead, get your driver's license. You see,
I like that.
This is sort of the whole point of the 100 deal challenge. How many of these 100 deals are you going to be able to get hard number loans? And so as we go through this process, I'm going to kind of continue.
On the retail thing with Haight.
Here we go. We're going to keep it moving. All right, y'all mute your phones. Hey, help me mute that phone. Whoever's helping me on the back end. I don't know who that is. Bing, bing. There we go. Thank you. Sorry about that. Super ADD, and I appreciate everybody being here on Black Friday. Next, okay. How are we going to do this 100 deals? Well, here's how we're going to do it with a War Wagon. I drive a Cadillac Escalade, and I put my setters and closers in the truck. And I literally am going to practice a lot of different things, but I'm going to mainly go out during prime time, which is going to be Saturdays, Sundays, and the time period between, whether it's, during non-daylight savings hours, it's between the hours of 4 p.m. and 8 p.m. Now where we're at, where it's getting dark earlier, you got to set more appointments in those time periods. But the War Wagon approach is you're going to make a commitment. You're going to get in the truck, and I'm going to show you how the best leads are the old leads. I'm going to show you how to work a 6-pack around all of your previous successful jobs. And I'm going to show you that basically getting out there in the field with your team and doing it in the War Wagon, it's the setter closer model. Look, guys, there's so many times that I'm training people. I put them in my truck. I teach them how to knock doors. They go to a lead. They say, man, that was a really good one. But they told me no. I jump out of the car and I re-knock the door and I close the loan and I close the deal right in front of the person. And they're like, holy shit, you're a fucking G. What did you say? How did you do it? Now that confidence, they got that confidence. Dude, the idea is that there's a setter closer model that roofing's done in the streets, that the easiest way to find an old roof is to see it. And we use an app called Roofing Redline where we mark all of our old roofs and activity that allows us to follow up through data later on. And I'll follow up using AI with phone calls, with text, with all different strategies. So this War Wagon approach is pretty simple. It's like we're going to set a certain amount of time to have you in the truck, but you should never be in the truck by yourself. The War Wagon is like a tank. And you got your gunnery, you got your driver, you got like maybe 4 people in the Escalade, and 2 people are jumping out on this side of the street. I'm dropping 1 person off on this side of the neighborhood. This guy's knocking the doors that I find as I'm driving the War Wagon. I never pass a clean yard in a Cadillac. What does that mean? It means the best leads are the ones that have the oldest roofs, have the cleanest yards, and the nicest cars. And if you see a sign of life, or if you see a man in the street, or somebody in the front yard, and you drive past them, you're a punk. You're not a roofing salesman. And so, the War Wagon approach, you teach people how to hunt. You teach people how to hunt. If y'all rode with me, y'all would figure out how I get 5 and 6 deals in a day because I have an intuition. I know how to spot deals. I have a feeling. I can feel them. I don't know if you're out there. It's like hunting. I sniff money. I sniff a deal, and I can just sniff them out. And whether it's the age of the roof, the cars, the way the house is set up, or the situation, the War Wagon is how we're going to get to 100 deals. Plus, the War Wagon is how we create a lot of good content. Y'all all need meta glasses. Everybody with a team can create content with their social media. And the way we really get real reach out of this is the content we create. And so many of y'all, who else in roofing is taking their camera up to the door and documenting getting rejections, overcoming objections? Nice. Alex, tag me, show me. I want to see it. Because there's one other kid that I've helped. His name's Eli. He uses my pitch and does a lot of different video content. He came to work with our company. He's an example of a recruit that came from the 100 Roof Challenge, but now he's in the War Wagon. He's actually on the last YouTube episode. And the truth is, this little junior has been watching all my pitches, and he's just repeating them and doing really good. And so I just think forget about strategy. Okay. These guys that call themselves sales experts that aren't actually selling in the field, dude, the fucking game has changed. And I think that, dude, being soft in roofing and being afraid to knock on doors and being kind of soft, it doesn't serve you. Of course, I see a lot of the people out there teaching sales, and I think, man, they can't fucking hold a candle to what we can do in the streets. And so I don't know who you're learning roofing sales from, but I've had one of the top roofing sales trainers work with my company. He wasn't even in the top 10 in sales in my company. And so the War Wagon approach is simple, but I want to kind of tie it in. How do you tie in the old school with the new school? And that's the next slide. It's AI leads. So here's everybody wants to know about AI and how do you automatically generate freaking leads. Appreciate everybody hanging in there, bringing some solid content. Everybody in here is going to have access to the Black Friday deal, 90% off, $500. We'll do 4 of these trainings every single week. I'm going to get some more people in here. Really pumped up about the WhatsApp because that's really where it all goes down. But the AI leads, let's go over them real quick. As I'm using Roofing Redline, I'm marking the roofs that are old. And one of the things that we started doing is we started using AI to build data lists, to build lists of the oldest roofs. In Florida, we build the lists with the permit data. We find the roofs that are older than 15 years old. And this is Alex. Well, I got the best leads. I don't know who you work with or what you do, but the reality is, dude, ain't nobody creating better leads than me. And I plug these data lists into Facebook. I plug these data lists into an AI machine. And of course, we scrape the do not call list. And of course, we send information to get them to opt in. But what we do is once we have permission is we text these customers, and these customers are setting appointments. So this picture of this guy's his name is TK. His name is Tamir, and Tamir's my homie now. He said yes. Now, one of the things about my AI leads is the drone pitch. The drone pitch is the cheat code. Who in here has used the drone pitch? Holy shit, my drone has detected damage. I just need to get you a copy of the report. How do you want the report? Emailed, or do you want it sent to your phone by text? Holy shit. Y'all don't even know the value of that delivered through an AI engine. You have no freaking clue. My guy here in the picture, Tamir, he said yes. And then I saw that he had a 50 square roof, and I immediately showed up at his house. And he's like, what the fuck are you doing here? Like, his wife was there by herself. I didn't quite have permission or a scheduled appointment, but I saw that it was a big roof in an area that I was working. And of course, I overcome him complaining about me just showing up. Of course, I was able to get him to sign a contingency agreement, but he's just an example of one of many. And the coolest thing about it is on my latest YouTube, we signed up both of his neighbors. We got everybody on loans. And the truth is like the AI leads with smart data, they're outperforming the cost per acquisition on both Facebook and Google. And it is the future. AI is going to take over a lot of the prospecting and in the roofing industry. And cold calling, as long as you're following the rules and you're good at marketing, there's a lot of people that aren't on the do not call list that are, as long as you find their cell phone numbers. So we're using AI to build the list of old roofs. Then we're finding their cell phone numbers. Then we're taking the people off of the list that are on the do not call. Then we have a voice engine that sets appointments. We have a text engine that sets appointments. And then we follow up and knock doors around those leads. And so if you're watching this right now, you're a salesperson, specifically one in Florida, you basically got 2 ways that you can work with us. You can remain with your company and train with us and take everything from our RCA and bring it to your company, no problem. Or you can plug in and as an independent contractor, 1099 guy, you can just literally sell directly with us, no problem. So the idea is pretty simple. AI leads is the future, and I'll show you how to do them. That's part of the secret of how I did 100 deals in 30 days is I'm not just a door-to-door dummy. As you can tell, I'm pretty good at digital marketing, and I'm a pretty smart dude. A lot of people don't give me a lot of credit. They want to throw a lot of sticks at me. Okay. And truth is like when the Florida insurance market, Alex, went out of business, how much that affected everyone. And I don't know how many different insurance guys are not here anymore. Big companies. And the bigger the company you were, the more of a burden it was. It's like turning around the big Titanic, our RCA doing 60 million a year, trying to figure out how to get a loan with every file, trying to figure out how to get paid when you're done. But to get to 100 million or $1 billion, I'm not going to get there unless I get paid in full at the end of every roof when I'm done with the roof. And so We generate a shitload of leads using AI through, like, the biggest engine is Facebook. AI determines our audience through a method that we call spray, pray, and retarget. We use dynamic conversion to pick the best videos. Then we retarget everybody who watches the ads for more than 5 seconds. And essentially, we create a lot of leads. But a lead without an appointment, it's like the first 48. If you don't get in touch with them within 48 hours, then your odds of turning them into a solved case or a set appointment are really, they drastically go down. So I have all these old leads. And if you're a $1 to $5 million or $5 to $10 million roofer, how many of y'all got old leads you can follow up on right now? To finish your year strong, I would say that your best leads are your old leads. These are the contingencies that didn't get turned into business. These are denials. These are people that didn't get appointments. These are people that old sales reps went to that didn't complete offers for. And I'm just saying, like, the best leads you have are the old leads in the system. And so one of the ways that I was able to do this, I actually didn't get to 100. And I just want y'all to know the rules of the game. You're probably not going to get to 100 deals in 30 days, but your goal is on December 1st to count how many days it takes for you to touch 100. And I don't care if you're a sales manager or an owner. You could set the appointment. You could close the deal. I want you to master this insurance to retail process so that you're not an empty suit, so that you don't lead from an ivory tower. And as you can see, I built out, we're going to go through virtual sales, virtual town hall, more digital shit that was the reason why I was able to do this. But I got to 80, 26 loans and 53 contingency agreements. And some people are like, did you do that by yourself? Fuck no, I didn't do it by myself. I'm a CEO. Why the fuck would I be selling roofs by myself? That's stupid. I literally was, I gave away every job. I gave away, either I set the appointment or I closed the deal and someone else ran it out. And so as I go through this, the old leads are the best leads. By territory, I went territory by territory, looking in the map. I've got this app, Roofing Redline. It's got a map. And I'm looking at all the old leads. And as I go to the old leads, I'm knocking on the neighbors' doors and I'm showing up to the house. So many times I show up to the house. I send a picture of the front door. I take a picture of the house. I say, my name's Lee. I'm here. They don't answer the call the first time, but when they see me take a picture of the front door and they know I'm in their front yard, and I hit them with the double bang. I don't know what y'all know, if y'all know about the double bang. Y'all know about the double bang? That's how it works. Call, text, call. Double, triple, triple, triple. And so they a lot of times won't answer the first call. They don't know you. Then you say, hey, it's Lee Haight with our RCA. You send them a picture of their front door. You say, my drone detected damage. I got an important message for you. And then you call them again. Then they answer. And so the old leads are the best leads. And so driving the old leads territory by territory and then knocking the neighbors' doors is a great way. Even if it's like the end of the year for you, if it's dark, you can still go to old leads. You can still knock on their door. So the old leads are the best leads. The next is the 6-pack approach. Like, this is so simple. It's stupid. Every time we do a good job, I always say return to the scene of the crime, but it's not a crime. It's a build. The idea is pretty simple. Return to the scene of where you had success. And if you got a build, you're going to knock on the neighbors around the build, the 2 next door, the 3 across the street. And when you're following old leads, especially when you're using AI and you've got nothing but the leads that are old roofs coming in, you know that where there's one old roof, is there others? Absolutely. And so part of the reason why I was able to hit this target was I would go to a lead. I sometimes didn't have an appointment and would not get a hold of the customer. But then right across the street, there'd be somebody with a tarp. We'd knock the door. We'd get them approved for the loan. And it's like, I was following the signs and God put the deal in front of me. And so maybe I wasn't supposed to get the lead that I thought I was going to get, but you never know where God's gift's coming from. So if you just open your eyes, where one door closes, what happens? Another door opens. That's how it works every time. So anyone can do insurance to retail. And this is where I need help from Ricky. Anyone can master insurance to retail. Following the roofing script and committing to daily door knocking offers and follow-up. Ricky is a guy that's done a ton of retail over his career. We taught him insurance, got him roofing specific. His whole business changed. We had, of course, some big challenges scaling 2 million, 8 million to 18 million with this company, doing a lot of rebuilds, remodels, and retail. And we had to rewrite everything. And one of the biggest challenges that I've ever had in my business is rebuilding with Ricky. And Ricky and I are a huge success story. I don't care what anyone else says. And Ricky, I mean, when I say anyone can master insurance to retail, why is that?
Because insurance is exceptionally is much more difficult than retail.
Much more difficult.
Tell him, Ricky, you were all retail and you thought insurance is way harder, right?
I used to be on the other side and thinking that insurance is a bunch of cake and those aren't real salesmen. But the reality is that retail is a lot easier in many ways. And in fact, it kind of goes back and forth. There's a lot of strong attributes or retail sales reps have that very when you become an insurance sales rep, you're insurance or first and you move to insurance and you have a massive leg up. However, I drastically underestimate the amount of work that goes into a insurance deal. So I've been trying to, over the last year, find ways to make it easier. And it's easier is just to convert it from insurance into retail. Shortens the process and gets it over to the expert's hands faster.
Yeah, we got some big case studies out of Connecticut. Some of them are on the call. We're going to be recognizing them. Ricky, you're a little breaking up a little bit, but we'll have you chime in here throughout this. Number one, I thought that Malachi, after I made the commitment to do 100 deals in 30 days, afterwards, I was like, man, is my team going to carry the torch? Because, dude, the CEO going out there and spending all that time in the fucking truck is sort of like, dude, why are you doing this? And this is why. Because Malachi, I busted his balls on a YouTube, dude. I fucking gave him really like the hardest ball busting when it came to his first week on the job, talking about mastering the drone pitch, mastering the magic question, if you have legitimate damage, mastering the contingency agreement. I don't know if Malachi's on the call, but Malachi, not only did he do the first pitch correctly and have lots of success, but as soon as I started having success crazy with insurance to retail, doing these loans almost every day, he was a brand new guy that Ricky, you go ahead and expand on Malachi's success and how me showing that it's possible was sort of like the first time the 4-minute mile happened, that once one man saw it, that other people saw how easy it was. Can you kind of expand on that?
Yeah, no, 100%. I think one of the biggest things that a lot of people are missing out on is it's really just the action that gets there. And so once we've seen the possibility, you kind of get sucked into this. This is how it's done. This is the way. It's way easier to let the customer go through the process, way easier. But once we started really pushing to the point where we're not taking anymore, if the customer's not paying for the appraisal, if the customer's not paying for the engineer, or they're not signing a contract with us, we're not taking the deals anymore. Once we started to put that kind of pressure in, then guys like Malachi and Colin, even Ryan stepping up to the plate and asking for the sale. And once you see it's possible, we've been putting up some good numbers.
Malachi's been doing 4 and 5 retail deals in 1 week. And I don't know, I said 300K in 30 days. Or was it more than that?
He's at 370 right now.
370 for the month?
For the month, yeah.
So round of applause for Malachi. All right, seriously. Another one I'm really proud of is John. Talk to him about John's growth. Like, he was an insurance guy stuck in the old ways and even had cash flow challenges from the past. But John stepped up and really evolved and was coachable. And can you kind of expand on that, Ricky?
Yeah, I mean, the coachables will really save him because he's willing to do anything. But the problem with John was that he had so many insurance bad habits that he just kept going back to it, would give things away. And a lot of these insurance guys are giveaway artists, and you don't have to. You can keep a lot more money on your side and you can sell the customer on $5,000-$10,000 when they're getting the rest of it paid for by the insurance company. It's a really easy sales. But John was tough to break. But now that he's broken him, he's got the most insurance to retail deals that are paying the supplements that are coming through ahead of the time because he's pitching and selling upgrades. We're not waiting and hoping that we get paid on supplements anymore. We're submitting them on the back end, which allows us to fund our team and make more money as a sales rep, but also as a company. And the customer gets a better experience. And
so Malachi is also working with shorter days over in Connecticut, and he's had some good days and good weather and some bad days. But this is the best sales month he's had all year, and we're actually moving into the best sales month that we've had in Connecticut, back to back to back, $1 million months. And this was a brand new office. And so it really has been made possible with this transition that all pivoted off of commitment for 100 deals in 30 days. And duplication is what your dreams are built on. And so you being able to do it as the CEO or the sales manager or the sales leader is going to pave the way for people to do it in your organization. And so we've gone through the script. My drone detected damage. If you have legitimate damage, you want it covered. It's contingent upon approval. No approval means no cost. All it's going to cost your deductible. There's a catch. Insurance companies are dropping people. Every 15-year-old roof's being surveyed by drones, and you could be dropped by the insurance company and forced to pay out of pocket in the next year to two. The bad news is insurance companies are the toughest negotiators in the world. They delay, they deny, defer responsibility. And so if we could get 50 to 80% of the roof covered, that'd be good, right? All right, great. Need a copy of your driver's license? Have you heard about our partner, Truist Bank? Yep. They're going to go ahead and submit pre-approval. And the way we get these approved is through a magic letter in our pre-approval process. I just need a copy of your driver's license. So there's the breakdown. And dude, you need to train that every day. And I'm going to give all of y'all a chance to train with me 4 times a week, with Ricky 4 times a week. We usually charge $5,000. You're going to be able to get into this for 500, 90% off. There's going to be some stipulations that you participate in the challenge. But if you participate in the challenge, you can stay in our group all year for 90% off. Another big case study is our guy, Daigle Construction. Stuart's been killing it. He's showed up to all of our trainings, showed up to our calls, brought his sales guys to his calls. And now in Louisiana, a market that is, hasn't had a storm, he's been doing retail deal after retail deal. And I don't know if he's going to be able to double sales in the last quarter of the year, but I know he's on track to do more sales, and he's doing more retail sales than he was before. And it's proof of concept that it doesn't just work for me. It works for my students. Mr. Stewart came to our mastermind and immediately was doing insurance to retail deals and is probably doing 4 or 5 insurance to retail deals every single week. And so many of you are watching this and you're probably thinking, 100 deal challenge, how the fuck do I do this in winter? I don't have a storm. How do I sell 100 roofs? It doesn't matter if it's winter, slow season, or no storm. Momentum comes from action, and insurance to retail gives you control in any market. Okay. So it doesn't matter what market you're in, and you have a choice. Do you want to contract, or do you want to expand while others contract? This is separation season, boys. You're part of the good group. You're part of the group on Black Friday that's trying to get better. Y'all are showing up here an hour into the call, still here because you're one of the beasts that value personal development. And so momentum being the most important thing in business, you got to fight the resistance to shut down your year. And if you want to start 2026 on fire, then you start with this 100 deal challenge. Like I said, if you don't hit 100 deals in 30 days, the question is, how many days does it take for you to hit 100? And there are going to be some prizes. The prizes for this competition is whoever wins it. And it's not about you have to sell 100 deals in 30 days. It's like whoever's first to 100. And of course, we're going to verify the deals. There's some stipulations, like you got to document on social media each win. But it's pretty simple. The winning's pretty simple. If you win, you're going to win a day on the boat with me fishing, and you're going to win dinner with me and my wife. We're going to talk about your business, your goals, all the things. It's the best and most important thing I can give, my time. But all of y'all are sitting here is probably thinking that it's too cold. And the truth is like the domino effect of you being able to just do 10 insurance to retail deals between now and January 1st. This is going to set your company up. This is going to set you up to never have to be dependent on an approval, to never have to wait for a supplement, to have a company. Like when you're trying to go to private equity and get your company bought and they ask, are you insurance or retail? The question is not, are your jobs originating from insurance? The question is, how long is your average cash flow? Do you have a cash flow problem? When you say that you're an insurance company, 90% insurance, they think this guy's got a cash flow problem. But if you get a loan on every deal, if you are able to get paid in full when you're finished, then the reality is that even if it's an insurance deal, it flips to retail. Alex, what's your question?
Yeah, Lee, one last thing before I have to get going. When are you saying to the homeowner, all right, cool, whether this is at the contingency signing at the kitchen table or after the adjuster meeting, it's like, hey, we got to get your roof on. We have to show the insurance company that cost incurred. Are you not saying, not the pre-approval point, but like when are you actually signing that retail loan contract? And
fucking day one, dog.
50%
50% of the contingency agreements are getting fucking done day one. And you're scared to
not
pull
the contingency. Not the contingency. I'm talking about when is the loan being like completed, not the pre-approval.
Yeah.
Hard money,
bro? Maybe you don't understand how a loan works. This is how it works. For one, you get the pre-approval, then you sign loan docs, but the loan doesn't go into effect until when?
It's completed.
Okay. So if they sign loan docs, does that mean that they got a loan?
No.
Okay. Well, if you get a hard number contract and loan docs signed on the first day with the contingency, does that count?
Yeah.
I'm getting 50% signed on the first day.
Gotcha. Okay. That was my last question. That's now it's just all clicked. So I'm going to do like 20 by the time December 15th comes around.
Fuck
so
yeah.
I'm fired up now.
Fuck yeah. Dude,
you
need to train with us like this on a regular, because dude, I said I was going to do this, but in order for this to stick, dude, it was a complete change. To change is hard. Dude, I had my whole business life, everything dependent on if I could become a retail guy, and being a public figure and having cash flow issues, not being able to build the jobs, not going down in revenue because insurance market's gotten tougher. Dude, it's a hard pill to swallow. But I just want you to know, like, dude, I talked to my agent that does liability insurance in Florida. The Florida roofing market is down 25% across the whole state. Across the whole state. So the domino effect of you being able to master this is that you get to grow in times while other people are failing. And that's where real separation starts. Look, I really think that Connecticut and the momentum that's happened over the last 3 months, a lot of it has to do with John being able to do insurance to retail, Malachi being able to do insurance to retail, Colin being able to do insurance to retail, Brandon being able to do insurance to retail. And Ricky, you were doing retail before, but can you how did this 100 deal challenge motivate you? You're very competitive. You want to beat the Florida team. You're currently this month, you're beating the Florida team. I don't like that, but it's very competitive. How did this 100 deal challenge from me inspire y'all to have massive momentum?
I mean, just looking at the leaderboard and watching the wins get posted up, I mean, it's really hard to self-motivate, so being surrounded by other people and watching you do it, watching other people do it, seeing the possibility for one, but also it allowed us to talk about it more. And these guys, Brandon particularly, was, well, what's happening? How are we doing this? So Brandon came from Florida, and when he came up here, he wasn't really strong into the insurance to retail. And I mean, he clicked last week. He put up 150K this week, Thanksgiving week, because of the insurance to retail. And I think that the biggest thing that it did for us was it created more of a conversation and got more training around not just knocking the doors, but when we knock them, how do we convert them? And that's what's really unlocked some success here with guys.
Guys, this answers the question that sometimes the owner has to get the fuck out of the ivory tower, okay? And that's what makes us different, all right? We're roofers. We can lead in the field. Our office is our truck. And you can document your wins on social media, document your deals that will help you recruit more guys. And guys, this guy right here, Josh, and I just changed slides if you're on the Zoom. Josh was my first elite client. He was the first guy that paid $60,000 for my coaching. And he was doing, I think, 13 to 16 million a year. Josh was out of Virginia. He's got a company named Smart Roof. Him and Dan Lucas own it. And they are leaders in the industry. And they're the first students who just literally surpassed the teacher so far that now I'm a humble student. And so I am the biggest student of the mastermind, because when I see someone like Josh come in and do something that I couldn't do, then I have to eat the humble pie. And it's just like my man Kobe Bryant. Like, you don't win the championship, dude, you better be in the gym fucking 100 hours a week getting better. And so what was Josh's secret? Well, Josh told me he did a pot. Listen, the deal is pretty simple. It's every single time that he gets a job denied by the insurance, he has a separate team. They don't really do the insurance to retail like we do on contingency or adjuster appointment, but this was years ago. Maybe they've changed. Every single job that gets denied, they have a separate team, and they have a process called roof in a bag. And roof in a bag is just a standardized sales process for retail that literally every single denial goes through. And the denials are where your gold's at. If you could find a list of all your roofs that have been denied, that's where you start. That's where you start, guys. And forget about an insurance adjuster, public adjuster. Forget about a damn attorney. Josh, he grew to over $100 million. And how did I help Josh? I helped him with a recruiting funnel. Of course, my recruiting funnel using social media and separating the serious from the curious. We drive traffic to a Zoom call like this, and I do a presentation for new people, and we get a lot of people in at one time selling one to many. And many of y'all need to learn this process. Many of y'all need to also learn how to build a brand on social media, how to make one guy successful so that he can get his friends. But one of the keys is you got to make the guy successful. You got to retain him. And whenever I was dependent on insurance so much, so many people were not making it because the claims were getting denied. It was taking too long to get built. And the proof of concept was that Josh grew above $100 million faster than me. I hit 60 million and had to go backwards because I had to redefine and rebuild everything to become retail to get to where I needed to be. And Josh is a guy that basically invested into his company and kept investing into marketing and kept invested into this process of both insurance to retail. And, you know, the truth is like, our mastermind, the power of the mastermind is that everyone teaches everyone. I learn from new guys. I learn from guys that are at my same level and guys that are beyond me. And if you don't have that type of environment to push you, then you're missing out. And I want to give you the opportunity to get into my community for 90% off. It's only $500. And we're also going to do a live meetup December 6th in Marco Island. You're going to be invited to that. We typically charge $5,000. And the reason why I'm doing this is all about the community. My goal is to build $1 billion company, to create 100 multimillionaires in roofing, to focus instead of coaching on partnering with the right people so that we can prepare to scale to exit. And the goal is pretty simple. The most dependable way to build wealth is what? The ability to advertise for profit. And one thing's for sure is I could really get the leads. I could get all the leads in the world, but if I couldn't get a loan, if I couldn't get a deal done, what's the problem at spending $50,000 to $100,000 on leads and getting insurance leads? What's the problem? Does anybody know? Spend 50 grand, 100 grand, and all you do is get contingency agreements. What's the problem with that? The problem with that is it takes too long to get paid. The problem is that a good cost per acquisition is $800 per contract. And if you're spending $800 per contingency and you got a 50% approval on contingencies, dude, you're spending a lot of money and it takes a long time to get paid. And Josh showed me that if you could switch people to a loan, if you could turn your denials into retail deals, that your company can scale and you're not dependent on insurance. You're not dependent on the storm. You're dependent on yourself, your ability to advertise for profit, your ability to get a loan approved. And it showed me that if I want to go to 100 million and beyond, that I must be a retail roofer. I must be able to go from insurance to retail. And so this is sort of the final thing that really helped me hit the goal. As a matter of fact, the virtual town hall. So many of y'all can do this and pull this off. Anybody that's got a lot of leads. For owners of companies that are $1 to $5 million, raise your hand. If you're an owner of a company doing $1 to $5 million, raise your hand. Look, y'all have leads in your system. You have old Facebook leads, old door knock leads. You have all these leads, and the way that you can sell all of them at one time is the way we're doing right now. You can hold a virtual town hall. You can educate them on how to not get ripped off on their roof or their insurance. You can close 15 to 25 customers at one time. And that's exactly what I did on the virtual town hall. Now, Omar, we got to do this with commercial. We got to get a bunch of your commercial leads. We got to get them all to a Zoom. We got to show them the benefits of getting a new coating roof for all tax deductible. We got to show them how they can get 80% off. But the truth is, we had a deadline. We only had 1 year to file a claim from Milton. At the end of this deadline, I was short on my goal, but I sold 15 roofs through a virtual town hall. And dude, I'm using a PowerPoint right now, and I'm going over one big promise that insurance to retail is the revolution you're missing. I'm going through 3 big secrets that are addressing your fears, your vehicle fear, your internal fear, and your market fears. All right. And then I'm going to make you an offer that you can't refuse, like 90% off to save your life and business and break you free from the insurance tip forever. Now, this framework is called the perfect webinar framework. And so many of us roofers, like y'all don't realize how many marketing books I've read and how much copy I've written and how many posts and videos I've made. But this is sort of like the difference between a salesperson and a company that's basically a real company is your ability to market. And so this virtual town hall, man, there's one guy on the town hall, he started running his mouth right at the beginning, wouldn't shut up. Turned out the guy had a $125,000 deal. And he's a cool dude, Vietnam served, killed a lot of people in Vietnam, but he's rich as hell. And I sold $200,000 roofs, got loans. We didn't close all of them over the phone. There was like 4 deals closed on the phone after the Zoom. The rest of them, we followed up in person. But everyone who attended the town hall, they were so warmed up that when we showed up, they were the easiest deals to close. And so closing one to many, that's one person to many. Like I'm selling you on this idea, insurance to retail is a revolution. Join our group chat, join our 4 calls a week, get 30 days access for 90 days off. And if you take this challenge and follow it, then you can stay all year. I'm not doing it for the money. I'm doing it for you to see the value so that maybe one day we could be partners, so that you will travel to the next mastermind mansion, so that maybe I'm the guy that gets to write you that 8-figure check. And so the truth is like my goal is to write 8-figure checks to 100 different roofers over the next 10 years, build a $1 billion company. And there's a neighborhood right next door here, a mile away, Port Royal. I do a run every single Sunday and I try to run from the pier to the end. And these are the wealthiest people in America. These are 20, 50, 80, even the last house is a $300 million house. And as I'm running, as I'm sweating, I say, if they can do it, I can do it. And I internalize, everybody that says that I can't do it, just like my man behind me, dude, I listen to all the haters. Sometimes they're the best motivators. And I love my haters because of it. But the truth is like innovation and being able to adapt. You've heard about how we're using AI to build smart lists, how we're using AI to set appointments, how we're using insurance to retail on a revolutionary sales process. Now you're hearing about how we sell 15, 20, 30 roofs at one time through a virtual Zoom. And who wants to learn how to sell 15, 20, 30 roofs at a time? Who feels like that they can do it? Who feels like that would be a great way to separate the serious from the curious? Well, dude, you owe it to yourself to plug in, because I'll give you the formula for the PowerPoint. I'll help you build it. I'll talk you through the process, and I'll do it for practically free, because $500 doesn't matter to me. And I just want to see that you vote for me with your credit card. And so if you're in, just type I'm into the chat and we'll get there. But the reality is like doing the virtual town hall, it opened up a new thing for me. And that was virtual sales. Go ahead. Ask me a question. Go ahead. Unmute. I can't hear you, brother.
So sorry. The chat's disabled. I know you said leave a comment there, but I think the chat's disabled.
Oh, shit. My bad.
Yeah. But hey, when you were saying that about there's a saying I heard years ago, if you think you can, you can. If you think you can't, you can't. So back to mindset is everything. I love what you just said about that.
Hell yeah, man. Y'all are all here, and I know you can do it, because I've got brand new rookies with no experience that are doing 370,000 in sales in a month. I mean, Brandon, who'd never done it before, did 150,000 in sales this week. And so I know that y'all can do it. But the truth is like the future of roofing sales is virtual. Being able to close a roof completely over the phone. Since I started this 30-day challenge, it's been many more days. The next chapter for me was virtual, and I've done 50 deals over the phone where we went through the contingency agreement, got the contingency agreement, filed the claim on a 3-way call, and then literally walked through the loan process over the phone and got a hard number contract and a loan approved over the phone. And this process takes 45 minutes, sometimes an hour, but the truth about virtual sales, it's a little bit different. Got this kid named Jackson Bubba. He's a friend of mine. You should follow him on social media. He's growing. He's a great salesman, young man. And his first year in roofing sales, he did 1.9 million in sales, all virtual. I learned about this company that he worked for that did 17 million in sales, all virtual. And I'm like, if they can do it, I can do it. And so me and Jackson have been working together. Of course, he's learning about the insurance game. He's running my leads, and we're closing deals together. And I've got about 4 or 5 virtual closers. Ricky's done virtual deals, but it's so exhilarating to be able to get a loan and a hard number contract done over the phone for a roof. I'd say make a friend, help a friend, which is Jackson's little sales process and strategy, is a lot more important over virtual. See, we can really get to build rapport with people in person. Over the phone, you have to be over the top with how you build the rapport. You really have to dig in and spend a lot of time in being an over the top, really friendly, interested in the person type of guy. But the sales pitch really doesn't change. And it's such a good sales pitch that if you have legitimate damage, you want it covered. Okay, we need permission to inspect the roof and speak with the insurance. If we find damage, going to send you a link that gives me permission. Go ahead and click that. In the top right corner, it says sign. All right, what insurance company you have, we're going to go ahead and give them a call. Be prepared. This is what we're going to tell them. This is the date of the storm. You're going to be here on there, and you're going to make sure that you give me permission. All right, great. We got done with that. Next step, sir, there's always a catch. Don't think it was going to be that easy. Insurance companies are the toughest negotiators in the world. And, they're going to drop you in the next year or two. That's the bad news. The good news is, like, you have the best people that have your back. We've got a perfect process. We got a pre-approval, a magic letter, and all we need is, like, if we could get 50 to 80% of your roof covered, that'd be good, right? Okay, great. We need a copy of your driver's license to move forward. Just need that right now to get this process started. And, dude, I had one. What am I? Why do I need a loan? I'm a cash buyer. What do you want to do? It's a $65,000 roof. But he wanted a chance to get the roof paid for by insurance, and we control the process. And I closed him, and I got the loan. It was a $65,000 deal. He goes, I cannot fucking believe you. You closed me over the phone on a $65,000 roof. This guy owned a jewelry business. He was a shark. And I just had him by the balls because his roof was leaking. It was old. He wanted a roof paid for by the insurance. He'd missed sort of the deadline for Milton. I was giving him a new storm date. And I said, look, if you want my help and my expertise, you're going to follow my process. And he was insisted. I'm going to pay cash. I could pay cash. I don't want a loan. The credit unions are a scam. I don't want a loan. I'm not getting a loan. And I'm saying, look, I don't have to help you out. You could pay full price for the roof. You can shop around. But if you have legitimate damage, you want it covered, right? Okay, this is the best way to get your roof covered. We learn with a magic letter and a pre-approval, we increase our odds of getting this done 90%. Go get your driver's license. And so this virtual, there's so many reasons. Like Elon Musk talks about the invention, and he talks about in the process of invention, making things better. He talks about removing things on the rocket ship. All that you do is remove this, remove this, remove this, remove this. It's actually the process of removal that makes you have a better chance of success. And so removing the sales rep getting assigned the lead and missing the appointment, removing the customer setting an appointment but not showing up, removing the salesperson not following my sales process, removing that did the customer get a completed offer? Did he follow up the right? Removing all these steps and doing it directly over the phone, it's a more efficient way to do business. I would rather try and close every lead over the phone before I go there. Like Jared, I just sent him a couple of leads. I said, Jared, we need to call these people before you go out there. He's like, I'm great at selling metal roofs. I'm like, Jared, I just want you to master this pitch. I know how you sell retail, but you're not doing insurance to retail. And this means that we can get a higher margin. And so Jared, after this call, maybe we get on the phone and we close those 2 old people. But it's pretty simple. Oh, the whole time we haven't had the PowerPoint. That's hilarious. Anyways, that being said, I had a really cool PowerPoint for y'all. It's on YouTube. We tried technical difficulties. Call us roofers. The idea is pretty simple. The virtual town hall, move to the next slide. It moves to the virtual sales. And Roofing Redline is a key ingredient to this. This is an app. People don't understand that we built this app. We got rid of all other apps like Company Cam and Sales Rabbit and all the unnecessary money that we were spending on roof measurements. There's a bunch of overhead that goes out the window when you're using all these different tools. Plus, it makes the process a lot more complicated. So my Roofing Redline app, it allows you to measure virtually, to complete offers virtually, to get contracts signed virtually. And, it also is a point of sale process. It's a point of sale app that they can use over the phone. So this is a part of the offer here for $500 is that you can get immediate access to Roofing Redline. But if you want to know how I'm doing deals over the phone, and let's say you want to plug into the Florida market, if you're a roofing salesperson and you're in another state, I can let you plug into my virtual roofing sales terminal and you can get my leads and you can practice this pitch in my market, which has got tile roofs, metal roofs, and the most expensive roofs in America. And so if you're, a salesperson and you're wondering like how you're going to make a lot of money or even pay for this when things are getting a little slower, virtual sales is the answer. And being able to close people that you've signed a contingency on in the past, some of the best leads for me to go on to are the ones that have signed contingencies with sales reps that have already left. And virtual roofing sales just means that I can pick up one of these customers and convert them to a hard number loan without ever driving to their house. We're going to move to the next slide, which is our
Hey, Lee,
yes.
you touched on instant measurements.
Yes.
Cool deal. I'm interested. What's that called?
Y'all want to see how it works?
Nah, I can check it out unless you want to see.
No, I just want to show you quickly. I can show you quickly.
Okay.
Let me figure this out here. Google Chrome, StreamYard. Here we go. Oh no, let's not do that. Let's not. Desktop. No, I'm gonna mess this up. Yeah, it's called Roofing Redline. I'll give you a free demo on it, but
Okay, that's what you were just talking. Okay, cool.
today's not the day. Here's the offer, guys. Do I have permission to give y'all a chance to join us and do this 4 times a week? Do I have permission to go ahead and make this offer? Because guys, I want to deliver a ton of value. I want to help people, but I've paid $2 million in coaching. This ain't an expensive high ticket offer. This was made for everybody. Even if you're broke and it's your last dollar, you should spend it on this because I can give you the leads. I can plug you in and I can tell you exactly what to say to get an immediate ROI. It's pretty simple. Instead of $5,000, that $5,000 in the past, next slide, Seth, the $5,000 typically gets you access to our 4 sales training calls a week. We do 4 calls like this a week. And Tuesdays, we talk about door-to-door insurance, contingency, and insurance to retail. Wednesday, we talk about commercial, and we go through our commercial sales strategy. I actually did an example of our commercial call just 2 days ago on YouTube. On Fridays, Ricky runs a call for retail. And he goes through his 10-step sales process, and it's fire. And it's all about how to properly position the deal, follow the process, get maximum dollars, use financing, sell with cash. But it's a beautiful retail-focused sales training. And on Saturdays, game day, we all get fired up about doing what we got to do, which is to go out there and knock doors. And so being a part of a community where you're involved in a group chat, you're involved in sales meetings, and you're involved in you'll get all my scripts, you'll get access to Roofing Redline. And if you do this right now, it's going to be 90% off. So I got to tell you where to go. That being said, if you're interested, I need a little help here, Seth, because you got the chat disabled and I need to know where to send them. Meeting group chat. So here we go. Look, y'all, here's the thing. We put a private group chat in, and I just want y'all to know, this group chat is for everybody that is serious about making this commitment to document your journey. And even if you can't hit 100 roofs in 30 days, to be truthful about how many days it takes for you to hit 100. And you don't have to sell all the jobs. If you go ahead and comment, I'm in, we definitely can connect afterwards. I went ahead and unlocked the private chat. I really put this together kind of last minute, but the good news for everybody is I wanted to make it really affordable for everyone, the salespeople. Just type I'm in and I'll get you immediate access. We do 4 calls a week. We got a group chat. This also includes full access to my Sky Diamonds University, which is all the training that I've ever created. And so shout out to Jared, shout out to my guy over there, Jay Sirk, Rich, appreciate the interest, appreciate what you got going on. Didn't quite get the buy page. I'm going to follow up with everybody after this group and just make sure that you don't miss out on this opportunity. But it's pretty simple. Now I'm going to open it up for questions. We went through this process: virtual sales, virtual town hall, insurance to retail. How do we do it? What financiers? How do we sign the contracts? How do we measure the roofs? War Wagon. How do you run it? What do you do? What are the constraints? Now we just talk about specifically the problems in your business. Maybe you have a problem with recruiting, hiring, training. I don't really know. Really focused. My bread and butter is helping $1 to $5 million roofers scale to 10, 20, 30, 40 million bucks. I've had more than 40 guys in my system go from a small roofer to over 10 million bucks, and literally 7 guys have scaled and exited their company for millions of dollars. I teach you how to basically get more salespeople and make them successful through both door-to-door and digital marketing. This proven kind of like system is, in the past, it's always been the more doors you knock, the more salespeople you have, the more insurance deals that you'll get. But the truth is, more deals are getting denied. Supplements are taking longer. Insurance companies are holding checks even longer. And so if you don't have a retail component to what you do, then there's a drastic constraint on scaling your business. And so want to tell y'all, now is the time that you ask me any questions that you may have about the process. Yes.
Where do I start here? I think this is perfect timing for me. I'm 58 years old. I've been in the roofing business for 30 years.
What's up, man?
On school for civil engineering. Anyway, I want to do this. I mean, can we have I can get my group in this, right? My team. I got 5 kids, 4 of them, all 5 of them are in the business. 4 of them are full time. So my question is, like when you do a chat or something, do I have to pay more for a group, or can I get them around my TV and we can get together? I mean,
So this is how it works, brother. It's $500 today, and that's for one user, and you definitely can get your guys involved. If you want your whole team involved, then I highly suggest that after that month that you can upgrade and you can invite all your salespeople to the calls. You can get users for all the salespeople with Sky Diamonds University. This is sort of a single person access at 90% off, because I'm literally going to be training your sales team to double, triple, or quadruple sales. And I'm doing this because I want to be your mentor for the future. I want to help you. And honestly, like if you've been doing it 30 years and you're still trying to figure it out and you got a small sales team, you're maybe my ideal client.
6 million.
Oh, that's my ideal client for acquisition, because you're already at a point where maybe you're making $1 million a year, and that I could write you a $5 to $6 million check. And the idea is for me to
1.8.
Oh, great. So you might be even worth more than that. And so the idea is pretty simple, to juicing up the profits of your business. And if you've been doing it 30 years, maybe your number is a $10 million check. And, the reality for me is I've been able to secure funding from a handful of different private investors for blue collar capital, which is like my own personal private equity. I went and sought real guidance from a guy named Adam Coffey, and he's done more than $2.5 billion in deals. And as all these private equity acquisitions goes, I'm not going to sell out to the banks, because I'm going to give it back to the blue collars. I'm going to make sure that these guys that are like you, that need a little bit of help getting to the point where you may be worth 10 million bucks. The idea is for me to find a way to get you there and to have first right of refusal to buy the company. And there's a lot of different ways we can do that, but I reduced the price of my coaching programs because it's no longer a coaching funnel. It's an acquisition funnel, because my intention is to build $1 billion company, to create 100 multimillionaires, and to become the real fucking deal, the baddest motherfucker in roofing. And I got a long ways to go. I want to be the Chick-fil-A of roofing, man. I got a long ways to go, but I'm humble 20 years in the game and re-energized. And sometimes you take a licking and you keep on ticking, but the adversity brings the best in me. And so if the Florida
No pain, no gain.
yeah, dude, if the Florida insurance market wouldn't have collapsed, I wouldn't have been forced to master this insurance to retail. I wouldn't have been forced to get better at AI lead generation. But the truth is we didn't get a storm this year, but we still got more profits off of less sales because I used AI to eliminate overhead. I used AI to bring down my cost per acquisition. I improved my sales process and closing percentage, which is probably the most important numbers. Talk about how many leads do you get, but the most important is what's your booking rate. You talk about what numbers are the most important, what's your cost per appointment, what's your cost per acquisition, what's your average ticket value. And basically, these are the things that determine if you can scale to infinity and beyond. And so many of us don't understand these numbers. We don't understand what our true cost per acquisition is. We don't really have a dialed in marketing system. And this is why private equity look at some of our companies and they're too owner dependent. Once you're gone, who's gonna do this? And in the market right now, the private equity groups that have owner operators that are like me, I've coached 400 plus guys and gotten lots of fucking great results. And the reality is like, I don't want to do a roofing franchise. I want to partner with guys that have their own brand so that we can build their brands individually in their markets and be like local kings of the markets all across the United States. I think that, this gold rush in roofing that is right now, it's all dependent on you learning insurance to retail. It's all dependent on you figuring out how the most dependable way to build wealth is the ability to advertise for profit. So what's your cost per acquisition? What's your booking rate? What's their cost per appointment? And can you turn up profits up and down on demand? And if you're watching this right now, for $500, all I'm really getting is an entrance to the party. I highly suggest you, brother, on December 6th, we're going to do a meetup. It's like a sample mansion mastermind. It's not going to be a full mansion mastermind. It's more just going to be the make a friend style where we just hang out, go on the beach, talk a little business. This is going down December 6th. There's going to be a lot of roofers in South Florida, and we're going to be doing a free event. And so I say pack your bags. Whenever I find something like this, I just fucking go there. I just go. And I would highly suggest you come meet me. Come shake my hand. I'll give you a tour of my office. I'll show you what it's really like. And then you can decide if you want to follow this path. This path is pretty simple. I give away all my secrets. I give away all my tools just for the opportunity to build reciprocity. If you're looking to team with Roofing Company for sales, you got 6 years of door-to-door sales experience. You want to team up with me because I can plug you in no matter where you are in the country with either me or one of my guys. And since you can get access to my virtual sales system, this is one of the things, guys, I learned that's a lot easier to recruit for virtual sales. And for virtual sales, you don't have to leave the comfort of your home. You don't have to leave your market, but you can sell in the best market. And a lot of times we turn a virtual sales recruit into a in-person or door-to-door recruit when we had a bunch of guys come in through Connecticut. It's funny that we had a virtual sales sort of kickoff and we had a bunch of people interested in virtual sales. And then Colin got like 10 to 15 guys in the call. And now those guys are like, man, why don't we just go straight to the doors? It's almost easier. We'll do a combination of virtual and door-to-door. So if you're new and you're looking for a good door-to-door sales team, start here with me and I'll certify you. I'll train you, certify, and you can say you're Lee Haight certified, Sky Diamond certified. You'll also get access to my virtual sales terminal, it's like my SDU hub. This is where we get all of our AI leads. This is where we do all of our automations, but it's where you can make calls. And Mac, what I want you to do is I want to separate the serious from the curious. I don't care if you're just getting started. The reality is if you're willing to invest into your own book of business, you would be building a roofing business within my business. We have a salesman to equity program, and I'm talking to ChatGPT. I'm asking, what do I need to do for the future? Think like you're Elon Musk. What do I need to do? He says, Lee, you need a sales to equity program. And this means that if you sell $5, $7, $10 million with my company, that you can earn equity into our platform. And the reality is, you can do that sitting on the comfort of your home through virtual sales. And so you see how much easier it is to recruit salespeople if you have leads in a way that they could call and get into your market right off the rip. And so just put on that headset. Mr. Mymack, where are you from?
Here we go. I'm in South Carolina.
Oh yeah, dude. Great market. Love South Carolina. A lot of good hail out there. Good companies to work with. I've helped some big companies grow, but that's very close. And you definitely can plug into us and take what we're doing. And you can sell roofs in South Carolina, and we can build them through our network. So let's say that you're a roofing company doing $1 to $6 million, and you're on this call. Let's say you were from California, or you were from South Carolina. What I would do is I would train Mr. Mymack. I would get him selling jobs. We would sell the jobs, get the hard number loan approved, and then we'd let you build the job. We'd just let you go buy the materials, build the job, make the money. And this is a network. You could call it like a roof Uber network, where we just sell the jobs and you build them. And dude, this is great to hear, Austin. More importantly, brother, I got to have you back here in this community. I got to have Austin's one of the best examples for success in my program. He's a young man, and his company's done $8 million this year. He's making more than $1 million in profit, and I'm really proud of his growth. I've ran into him many times. St. Louis last year, I really saw him kicking major ass. But Austin, you know, we get stuck in our old ways, and it's this insurance to retail that's the future. It's being able to have enough leads and a virtual sales terminal that you can have a virtual sales offer. And, you know, we've talked about, you know, the scale and exit, and you were on some massive track, but everyone this year, they dealt with insurance companies paying slower. They dealt with more claims denied. Who has seen this State Farm just absolutely just completely change their ways and just tank and deny most of the claims? I mean, this has really affected a lot of the markets in the Midwest. And I've got the answer for Snake Farm. It's called the Roof and Sue. Fuck you, State Farm. I got the Roof and Sue. We got a 12-month, no payment, no interest loan. And it's okay. We're going to send you a magic letter. We're going to build the roof, and then we're going to sue your ass. I'm going to build the roof. I'm going to get paid. The customer gets a new roof either way. And this is the future. And so if y'all are watching this right now, guys, we really want you to take advantage of joining our community, because this is where the men really are elevated. When you're around other men that show up determined, like, dude, we're here on Black Friday for an hour and a half because we are serious about our goals. And I commend you. I applaud you. I just don't want this to go to waste. And so many of us are looking for the free information. You think it's all about the money, brother. I don't need the $500. I don't need the $5,000. I really need the transformation stories. I need the guys like Austin. Austin started with me doing $2 million, and now he's an $8 million a year company. I mean, there's so many of those guys. It's not funny. And it's so funny. I've coached all the roofers. I see some of them now, and they think after they've been in my program that they've learned it all, that they don't want to fatten the pockets of some douche guru that's actually still in the roofing business. And so they're just not going to pay. But the first time, did you pay? And did you pay attention? Did you do it? Are you posting 3 or 4 times a week? Do you have a recruiting funnel? Are you currently killing it with your Facebook ads? And do you have a good cost per acquisition with your system? Are you stuck, dependent on death by depreciation? And if you have these problems and you know that you have them, but you're too prideful to join the community and show up to ask for help, well, I show up to the community every week for every call. I learn from the new guys. I learn from the people that some people say are massive failures. But in business, you only fail when you quit. And, you know, the truth is like, I'm driven by this bigger purpose now to build a $1 billion company. I want to compete with ABC Supply. I want to be the wealthiest organization in roofing. And that's a scary, scary goal. But you need these big, hairy, scary goals. That's why I want you to commit now, figure it out later, how you're going to sell 100 roofs in 30 days. You're going to do virtual town halls. You're going to do virtual calls. You're going to turn up the AI leads. You're going to run the War Wagon. And even if you fall short, you're going to get in our group, and it's going to get you momentum, and it's going to push you to potentially double sales in the last quarter of the year. Man, I really, really am fired up about what is coming in the roofing industry. More blue collar millionaires. And with the rise of AI, super intelligence will be here before we know it. I don't know if y'all know, super intelligence is when the AI becomes smarter than the humans. It's already very, very smart, and probably arguably smarter than the humans in many ways. But when it has the ability to really not need instruction from us. What is going to happen? What jobs are going to be eliminated? Is there going to be universal income? Are people going to need to work? I was listening to Elon Musk talk about the future, what it's going to look like in 10 to 20 years. He said work is going to be optional. Well, between now and then, there is a window of opportunity to build wealth in roofing, and AI is not going to build the roofs. They're not going to fight insurance companies for full replacements. They're not going to knock on doors and let people know they have legitimate damage that they need the roof covered. And so I'm fired up that there's going to be doctors, lawyers, architects, private equity guys, financial services guys, real estate people, all coming into the roofing industry because this is the age of the roofer. We are AI resistance. We are the ones that private equity want. We are the guys. And so like my guy that's got a $6 million a year company with $1.8 million in profit, you are at the sweet spot, man. That's the real beautiful thing. Once you start scaling 10 million, 12 million, 15 million, 20 million bucks, you gain, like us looking at something. Profit is unnatural at that level. You have to fight a willingness. Everyone wants to spend the money, and someone has to fight that. It's unnatural. And that 6 million bucks, 7 million bucks, when you have a small company, but you can maximize profits, there's sort of a sweet spot in roofing. And the reality is, you know, if I have 100 different companies doing $7 million to $10 million, all of them making anywhere from $1.5 to $2.5 million a year, collectively, we represent potentially the most profitable, serious group in the game. And I believe you don't have to build a $20 million roofing company to become a blue-collar millionaire. No way. As a matter of fact, you can do it with a $7 to $10 million roofing company if it's done highly profitable the right way. And I want to give you access to all my shit, all my secrets, even people that are competitors in my market for peanuts. And some of y'all think that, no, I don't want to do it. I won't do it. I won't give the guy another dollar. Why is that? Is that problem me, or is the problem that maybe we all need to eat a little humble pie? And, you know, for me last year, dude, it was real humbling experience. Very humbling experience. It started off with a lot of things that I basically brought on myself. But here's the truth. Everyone loses, okay? You're afraid to lose publicly. You're afraid to fail publicly, and that's the biggest thing that you have and the reason why you wouldn't do it. Come on, man. This is America. Even if you do fail, we've had how many Chapter 11s has our president had? A lot. I've never had a Chapter 11, never had any of these defaults, never had any of these problems. You know, there's definitely been some things that were challenges or adversity along the way. I mean, Ricky was one of my best students. He grew from 2 million to 8 million, 8 million to 18 million, but he did not run my business model. He had his own business model, and he was teaching me. He was teaching me retail. He was a killer at closing retail, and he was great at doing video ads. And I really wanted Ricky to be like this fucking like best example of my program. But the thing is, dude, it's not just about the sales. You got to sell, build, collect. You got to pay attention to the numbers. And Ricky, I mean, maybe you can explain it out of your own mouth that sometimes when you don't pay attention to the numbers, or sometimes when you're building remodeling projects, having in-house crews, it's very hard. Like I said, it's profit's unnatural once you get to like a $18 million a year business. What happened, Ricky?
On my end, can you guys hear me fine?
Yeah.
On my end, it was more about, I take it on more than I could chew. I didn't do roofing inside anymore. I took on, once I had 40 sales reps, I took on builds, I took on additions, I took on whole house remodels. Hell, we sold hot tubs sometimes. And when you start doing that without a proper intake process, you start selling uncontrollably. And if you don't intake them properly, then you sell a $250,000 build, so it feels like a lot of money, but it costs you $300,000 to build it.
And the thing about it is that Ricky, one number, that's the pre-cap, that's understanding what the job is actually going to cost. If you do one thing wrong, then you end up building unprofitable jobs, paying salespeople, having lots of overhead, and it's just not right that one thing can take you out. The reality is we learn from our mistakes. We had to restart. And now we have a roofing office doing $1 million a month in Connecticut. We have a company that's making more than $1 million in profit in a year. We have a rebuild story that's based off of solid insurance to retail, roof only business model. And what's different about that, Ricky?
What's different about it is I mean, we're profitable for one. The other side of it is we're sticking to just roofing and exteriors. We're not taking on anything outside of that. What else is different about that? The accountability to the team, having 42 sales reps, I believe that I could save everybody. And now the accountability is strong. Even if you're $1 million rep, if you can't perform and you can't carry culture, you got to go. And we're quick to solve that, because that was one of my biggest pain points when we started pulling commissions, is that I created a lot of cancers, and I should have let everybody go, but I didn't. I thought I could save everybody, and I'm never doing that again. So everybody's got to be accountable to their number and their responsibilities. They're 2 to 5 that I need them to hit. And that's one of the biggest things that's helping us be successful here. It's some uncomfortable conversations, but we're creating killers because of it.
And one thing's for sure, guys, is that I'm incredibly grateful for the opportunity to learn all these lessons in front of you. You make me the best version of me, man. I want to help a lot of people. I don't just want to make a lot of money. And I believe that, raising the status for roofers, I want to make roofing cool for your kids. I want your kids to want to be a roofer. I want, as people have more of their jobs taken by AI, are gringos and white people going to turn their nose up at getting their hands dirty forever? I mean, it's just not right, man. You got to start on the job sometimes. Ricky started building roofs, and I wish sometimes I would have took that path. Sometimes I learned a little bit too much as a salesman. And I would say, like, raising the status for what it means to be a blue collar American dream story, to be a blue collar success story. This is what I do it for. And so for everyone here that feels like, this is going to be your year, dude, commit now, figure it out later, join the challenge. Look, my wife, my family, they're at the alligator farm right now. All right. I spent 2 hours with you when they're getting the guns dialed in, about to go shoot some hogs and murk some alligators. All right. I'm hanging out by the campfire tonight with my crew. And a lot of people that are in my position wouldn't even want to share all this information with their closest competitors for peanuts. Why would you do that? I know that if I share this information, it's going to be so good, even if you hate me, that even if you use it against me, that eventually you're going to come and you're going to see some sort of value, and we're going to do some sort of a deal. The truth is, guys, I just like helping other roofers. I don't know what it is. I like selling roofs, but I like helping other roofers more for some reason. Although, with private equity being all in on roofing, the bottom line profits of my company is the thing that I have to be responsible for first. I took more time to become the real deal and be an example of real deal profits. And there was a little bit of a time that I took off of coaching. And during this rebuilding stage, mastering insurance to retail, tightening up my cost per acquisition, getting AI to eliminate half of the overhead of my business. These are the things that are going to be the foundation that allow me to go to $1 billion, that allow me to write a big check to your company and take over and help you generate generational wealth. And for me, that's what I do it for, to be the one in my family tree. And hopefully, I don't know if you've heard Ed Miletti spoke at 2 of my events. There's always one person in the family tree that you can look back and say, that person did more for our family. I think about this stuff, man. I think about this Charlie Kirk assassination and the powers to be that control our universe and world, and how the world is evil, controlled by all these entities that are basically the richest people, the central banks, the people that are in charge of all the companies. And if you don't speak their language, they could just murk you, take you out, silence you. And I just think to myself, like, dude, I just want the opportunity to have freedom in this world, and I need more money. If all this shit comes to hell in a handbasket, I want a fucking 5,000, 10,000 square foot underground bunker. That's me, guys. I truly believe that the evil entities in the world out there, that I know that I need to create safety and I need more money. And I know that this roofing is not going anywhere, and it's going to be a strong vehicle. And I don't like all the things that go on in the world. I really don't like the evil, and I don't like being lied to. And I hate the idea that our world is controlled by one group of people that are really satanic. But I can't control that. All I can control is, how do I make so much fucking money that I'm autonomous, that I'm truly free, that I'm not a slave to the system. And if you're stuck, sales does cure all woes. And if you sell the roof at 50% profit with a hard number contract with a loan, dude, your whole life will change. Everything changes. And I really appreciate everyone like Ricky, who has helped me from within the mastermind. And a lot of people, they'll point fingers and they'll say, this was a big failure when we had to restart. Me and Ricky basically had to go through a rebuilding phase where his company in New Hampshire, we had to restart in Connecticut under RRCA. But the truth is, guys, that you only lose when you stop and you quit, and there is no failure in this game. So look, I don't know where you're at in this journey, but I want you to take advantage of my offer. I want you to be a part of our family. This community is actually my salespeople. It's actually like me training my salespeople. Lots of other roofing salespeople are in this group, but this is real. This is the realest thing that you can get. And so I appreciate the opportunity. Y'all go ahead and take me up on my offer. Get 90% off. Join the challenge. Appreciate everybody who's stuck here for the final call. And any last words? Anybody got any last words? Guys, I appreciate y'all. Thank y'all for hanging with me. I'm going to shoot some gators, some hogs, and to have a little fun with the family. All right, guys, I'm out of here. Peace out.
Thank you, Lee.
Thanks, Lee.
Thanks, Lee.
Take care, brother.
Thank you, bud.